the Williston City Council meeting. Ms.
Jones, I just think. Ms. Jones, will you call roll?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Jerry Robinson.
Here.
Council President Justin Head. Vice President Marguerite Robinson.
Here.
Councilmember Michael Cox.
Here.
Councilmember Deborah Jones. Here. Councilmember Elaine Ross.
Here.
City Manager Jackie Mormon. City Attorney Fred Comerline.
Here.
City Clerk Patricia Wright. Deputy City Manager C.J. Simone.
Here.
Thank you very much. If y'all will please stand and remove your hats, lower your hand, and the mayor will lead the program.
Let's pray. Father, thank you for your many and abundant blessings bestowed on each and every one here this evening. Guide us in our discussions, enlighten our minds in every decision that is made. Give us your grace that we may effectively do our parts as public servants. We pray for guidance in these matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Watch over and protect our nation's military members and their families and sustain them in your everlasting arms. Almighty God, you lend your strength to all those who are there for us in times of crisis, fear, and hurt. You give courage to the first responders who continue to do this important work they are called to do, and we humbly ask you to please protect them. We pray for a spirit of unity, love, and peace to drive our thoughts, actions, and words for everyone in our fair city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 1, is there any changes to the agenda? Council? No? Seeing none?
I say we approve the agenda as published.
Second that.
Thank you. At this time, we will go on to item 2, public participation. Anybody that wants to participate, you have 5 minutes. State your name and address, please, and come to the lectern.
Good evening, I'm Vonda Williams, Wilson. And I'm really just up here this evening just to say thank you to the council and anyone that came out to the park on the 20th and participated. Thank you so much. That was, you can tell that when we get together and work together, that great things can happen. And I thank you so much. And I have a little something here, and it says, your thoughtfulness is a blessing. The things you do might seem like little things to you, but those little things have a way of making lives better and brighter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you. We had fun.
Yeah, it is.
We had
I
fun.
know, it started out as a cleanup, but it became a beautification, so
Yes.
it was a great thing.
It was fun. Thank you, Vonda. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Glenn Lewis. Glenn Lewis, I live at 305 Northeast 1st Street. I've been a resident of this town for a very long time. I do a couple of things I want to bring up. One of them is our telephone system, CenturyLink. Their internet bites big time. I've talked to them, everybody else has talked to them. They don't want to spend the money to upgrade their phone service. Right now, our internet is on 2 thin pairs of copper wire, which was originally built for a phone system. CenturyLink says, oh, you get higher speed and stuff, but it also says, might not be available in your area. Well, we happen to be one of the areas. And we're getting more and more new housing being built, more and more kids moving into this neighborhood. And they're using the internet a lot, especially now when school is now virtual school. Trying to uplink their lessons and stuff takes for hours. And this is ridiculous. I mean, we lost our cable system, they pulled out, so we have, the only thing we have right now is CenturyLink, and I think it's ridiculous. I have to buy what's called a jetpack, using Verizon. I don't know if you all know what this thing does, it's basically a cell phone. And I have the greatest uplink speed around using it. But I try to play something on the phone, on my computer, forget it. It's about time the city goes after these guys and say, hey, improve your infrastructure in this city. Because I don't know if this city hall is on fiber or not, but there's fiber in this town. But they're not willing to expand it.
I believe, Mr. Lewis, we are going to discuss later on.
Later on when?
Later on in the meeting, we will be discussing it.
Okay.
That very subject.
My other thing is getting some traffic control on Northeast First Street. I happen to live on that street, and I've talked to the police chief about this. People are running the stop signs. It's a four-way stop sign. They're using Northeast First Street as a bypass of Noble Avenue to get to 121. We have a kid's place across the street from me, a church. We got new homes built on Northeast First Street. They're gonna have kids and stuff. I hate to see a kid get run over because somebody doesn't stop for a stop sign. And they don't even come to a complete stop, which Highway Patrol guidebook says you have to. We'll stop moving, and they don't do this. I know the police department has gone out there on my request. Problem is they take a marked unit out there. Well, if you see a marked unit, you can protect, you're gonna slow down and see what's happening, or obey the law. Maybe if they put the cars out of sight, or even use an unmarked car. But this is getting ridiculous. There's also the Presbyterian Church and stuff. I mean, also, these kids are coming, they're getting on the bikes and stuff, walking down the street because they're on sidewalks, and you have some person comes flying through that stop sign, and there's a four-way stop sign too, to get from one part of town to the other part of town, not using Noble, using it as a through street. And I think it's about time something be done about that. Maybe clean down these little ripple things they have in some communities that go dump, 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 and your car goes by. I know it's kind of funny, but that's what it sounds like.
That's what it does.
They'll go, hey, we have to slow down and stop here. So that's the only two things I have for the evening.
Well, thank you very much. Those are important. Deputy Chief,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you. Anyone else? Aaron?
Anyone want to go to a meeting like this, speak, unmute your mic? I think that's you, Jackie. Nothing heard.
Going on? No? Nothing over there? Well, thank you very much. Go on to item 3, consent agenda, which consists of council minutes from February 16th, 2021.
Move the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. On to item 4. Oh, thank you. We need to vote.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry. Did we need to vote? No, we didn't. Fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Passing. Old business. Staff and board council updates, CJ.
Yes, good evening. We don't have a lot to announce at this time. We did have our pre-bid meeting with Waste Services on the RFPs for that. The final audit process has begun. If there are any questions on that, Jen's here to answer any of those. And we had a meeting with Passero about doing the some of the designs, the utility extensions at the airport. So they're gonna begin to start mapping some of that out and giving us cost estimates on it. And that's all I have.
That's all you have?
Yes.
Laura, you're up later. Lisa?
Nothing new, other than I'm just plugging away and working hard, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, we're glad to have you. Deputy?
No, ma'am, we don't have anything.
Nothing?
Nope.
Benton? Nothing? Nobody? I was prepared for y'all to do something, thank you. Okay, on to item 4B. Discussion with possible action foreclosure CB 14-14 Waymar Inc. property located at 811 East Noble Avenue. Laura?
Good evening, everyone. I'm trying to get in front of you.
Do you have a microphone? Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
A few months ago, you guys asked me to go back and look at Waymar. This was a property that was ready to be foreclosed on. But I found out while I was doing the code enforcement that they had some issues with the DEP. So on January 19th, 2021, it was discussed at the city council meeting. And as a reminder, the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement voted to proceed with the foreclosure. I was asked to research the environmental cleanup and cost timeline, and after talking to the DEP, it's clear that the cleanup has been delayed due to COVID, and final tank pulls were not going to be completed for another 2 years or more. Then monitoring will take place for another year. It's a low priority property for them, and they had some problems and delays due to COVID with their contractors, so it's on sort of the bottom of their list. So, the property owner can clean up the property. We've told them already that they are allowed to go on even though the DEP is in remediation. They can remove the trash and they can cut the grass. They told code enforcement that they didn't think they were allowed on, so we made sure that they were, and we've informed them, and they have not returned to do any cleanup. So the cost the property owner for the remediation for the future will be $500. That's a deductible that the DEP pays for most of the remediation, but that's a deductible that the property owner has to pay. So I'm recommending that we hire a cleanup crew and charge the owner instead of foreclosure, because the fiscal impacts to move forward is going to cost our typical $2,300, our $500 deductible, and then we really can't sell it unless we have a miracle and somebody wants the property while it's in remediation. And we'll be able to go on the market for at least 2, maybe 3 years, maybe more.
Any questions for Ms. Jones?
I guess if we clean it up one time, will we just have to clean it up again?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. There's some garbage. I believe that there's a mattress out there, correct? And there's some big trash. It is the gateway to Williston from the east. So I recommend we maybe pick up the trash, cut the grass once, and then see how it goes for the next, few months. I don't think there's a lot of grass there because it's mostly concrete. It's an old gas station. So, I mean, that's just my recommendation.
At what cost? At the $2,300 or?
No, ma'am, that'll be
or
much less.
just the minimal mowing and cleaning up?
Yes, ma'am.
Would we do it ourselves or hire someone to do it?
It's up to you.
Probably do it ourselves.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, what happens if we bill the property owner and they don't pay?
There's a very good chance that they won't pay. They haven't paid their back taxes, they haven't paid their lien.
They haven't got a lien of
DEP
So
money.
we're just doing it as a gratuitous type of situation?
It's at our own risk.
Yes.
A hard one.
And the DEP, what's the environmental problem out there?
They have some tanks, some fuel tanks, and they may have had leakage, but they do have to pull the tanks, pull the soil, and then do monitoring for at least a year until they can say it's a closed site. And since they're not doing active remediation, they don't know when active remediation is gonna start.
And is the lien continuing on a daily basis now?
Yes, sir.
And so we're probably up to $100,000.
Probably, we're at January, we're 98.
And I do understand what you're saying here, since it's on the bottom of DEP's list here. But $100,000 lien for the city, we go out there and clean it up at no cost to the property owner. That just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about the council, but that just doesn't sound right to me.
Yes, sir. That was our staff recommendation because it was brought up at a council meeting that that was a way we could go with that property.
Mhm.
So I picked one recommendation or the other, and I thought that was the better of two evils.
Yeah. Definitely better than foreclosing at this time.
Yes. Suggestions?
What do you think, Mr. Ross?
I think it needs to be foreclosed, but I'm trying to think what attendance costs would come along with that.
But would you foreclose now or wait?
Now,
Now? Can you do it now?
you know, if we're gonna do it, let's do it.
And we would accept responsibility for it.
If we wait, we run into more problems.
And the cost of pulling out the tanks though is not cheap.
Exactly.
That's the problem right there.
Yeah.
Then we accept all the responsibility of the tanks.
So I believe it's part of the super fund, so the DEP is paying for almost everything.
All but the $500 deductible, you think?
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
clarify that before we do a
That
closure.
would make a difference, for sure.
Yes.
Erin, can you turn this thing down a little? I'm echoing. Thank you.
I'm doing that.
No.
I'll just echo. Thank you, that sounds better.
And I'm not sure how to make it a priority for the DEP, but I guess there's a way possible to do that as a new property owner. Maybe able to,
Well, we're already looking at 2 years with DEP. I mean, how much can you push it up?
I mean, if we foreclosed and we accepted the super fund with only a $500 deductible for the cleanup,
Is that right?
we're not sure.
yeah, we would have to.
And as of right now, there's 500 deductible cleanup for the property owners.
And then if it took 2 or 3 years and we still had to clean it up every 3 or 4 months, whatnot, how much is that gonna cost? Is that gonna cost $2,300 that we foreclose?
The $2,300 is the foreclosure cost.
No, I know, the $2,300 is for foreclosure here, but if we have to go on that property and clean it up every 4 or 5 months or whatever, it's gonna come close to that $2,300 foreclosure amount right there, and if we go ahead and foreclose on it, and we only have to pay $500 for the environmental, cleanup on that thing, and even though we're gonna have to pay the approximate $2,300 to foreclose on it, I'm with Mr. Ross.
Me too, but I wanna find out with the $500.
And
That is,
I think you need to make sure that that is correct.
That is the total
Exactly,
cost.
exactly.
And then if that is correct, I would suggest to go ahead and foreclose.
I'll get the cost
I'm
to the
with you.
property owner in writing for the DEP before we proceed with foreclosure. And if it's $500,
Yeah, bring it back, let us know.
Bring it back next meeting, please.
absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Cox, did you have any questions for Laura?
No, I
Okay.
see it as a double-edged sword. We're gonna go in.
Where you on?
I'm on. I just see it as a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So if DEP is gonna carry a lot of it, then maybe we'll come out ahead.
Makes it more acceptable anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm leaning with Mr. Ross as well.
Yep, me too.
Good suggestion.
Foreclose. Good job.
Where's this property located?
811 East Noble Avenue,
Which is?
down the road.
Right across the railroad track? Going down, one east on 27.
There's no real estate.
It's to the right.
Right.
It's that first little station right there. You can't miss it. It's overgrown like crazy. I mean, up to here. Yeah.
Very run down.
Okay. Bring it back next meeting, we will discuss again. On to item 5. Resolution 2021-05, resolution of the City of Williston, Florida, appointing Dr. Kenneth Schwiebert to the Community Redevelopment Agency for a 4-year term beginning March 16, 2021 and ending March 15, 2025, and providing an effective date. Ms. Jones again.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Schwiebert's term is up in March, and he said he would like to serve another 4 years. In 2010, it was reorganized by the City Council, eliminating 2 seats, so now we have 5. This resolution would reappoint Dr. Schwiebert for another 4 years, beginning March 16th and ending March 15th, 2024. Dr. Schwiebert currently serves as the Vice Chair of the Community Redevelopment Agency and has expressed his desire to continue to serve. Chapter 16 of the City's Code of Ordinances mandates the appointment of these members to the agency board by you guys, by City Council. So our recommended action is to adopt the resolution.
I move resolution 2021-05.
Second.
All in favor of it?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
How is Dr. Schwiebert getting along?
It's great.
Retired and ready for another 4 years.
A couple times last week or 2.
Thank you. Moving along. Discussion with possible action. Review preliminary plat for proposed Country Lane Estate subdivision. City Planner Laura Jones. No.
Do what now?
Oh, no.
I have, these spots for you, I didn't wanna put them out. They can take a big one or a small one. Aaron's not working.
Is it on? One more click. 2 clicks.
It's on.
I wondered where the map was. We had everything but that.
We'll share.
Thank you. Fourth Avenue, 7th Street, 4th
There's
Street.
two positions.
This is
There's
the
stand
sewer.
and there's a
Okay, here.
It's not communicating.
Okay, can you hear me?
Nope.
Nope.
Is it on?
Closer.
Can you hear me?
Okay, so we have a preliminary plat in front of you for, Country Lane Estates. The applicant is A+ Homes, doing business as Armstrong, and we have Mr. Steve McMillan here to speak to it for us. Right? Hi, Steve. So Country Lane Estates falls under the description of a major subdivision and must follow Chapter 56 subdivision regulations of the Williston Code of Ordinances. The project is located off of Northwest 4th Avenue between Northwest 4th Street and Northwest 7th Street, with a general location of 510 Northwest 4th Street. So A+, a Florida corporation, doing business as Armstrong is the owner, and Stephen M. McMillan, PSF surveyor, is the agent. So the Country Lane Estates is ghost town, remember?
Yep.
Yes.
So it consists of about 33 acres, and they'd like to put 100 lots. The ingress and egress to the development is located off Northwest 7th Street, with 71 lots inside the subdivision and 29 lots outside the subdivision, with entrances located on 7th, 4th Street, or 4th Avenue. So you following me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They all meet the minimum lot size requirements and setbacks for R1A zoning. The final plat will have exact lot sizes that should meet minimum lot requirements. Easements have been put in place on the plat to accommodate electric utilities, water, and sewer. It has not yet been decided if the development will request gas services. We have asked CJ to do a little, public reach out with them so that we can get these guys on gas, because that would be another utility.
Mm-hmm.
Easements, tracts, and right-of-ways will be dedicated to the public. Common areas and drainage easements will be conveyed to the Country Lane Estates Homeowners Association for ownership, management, and maintenance. We have some things that we would like to see in the development plan, so they're not gonna be on your plat. These are new things. And approval of the development complies with the Land Development Code for a major subdivision. Therefore, staff recommends approval, subject to staff comments above, and it has been to planning and zoning, and they approved it.
Can you roll that back to your comments?
Right.
Thank you, Raj, appreciate it.
Would you like me to read them?
I can tell.
Mr. McMillan, do you have anything to say about?
Sure.
Steve McMillan, surveyor. You saw this 16 years ago, for those of us that were here. It was called Park Place. We never did call it officially Ghost Town, but that's how everyone knows it. It became Park Place with 96 to 100 lots, something like that. Got approved for preliminary plat, the engineering was complete, and right about then the economy crashed and the whole thing just went kaput. We're back on to a new fancy name, Country Lane Estates. We're right at 100 lots and we're back up and running again. It's gonna be a big one. This is gonna bring a lot of people to town. It's gonna bring a lot of students. It's gonna bring a lot of people we can hire, a lot of people to sit on boards. I mean, this ought to be a good, solid thing for the city in the long run. The process right now is you have a preliminary plat from me. I made it through planning and zoning and they approved or recommended approval. Now it's up to you guys, recommend approval, or to approve it. And then Troy Burrell, the engineer, and the permits, and the whole thing starts to, you won't see me for another year and a half until construction is done and the permits are closed out. At that point, I'll bring the final plat to you, which will have the rest of the dimensions on it, maybe some twerks, maybe CJ wants another easement over here, or maybe Troy saw an easement over here. There'll be a lot of communication between me, Troy, and the city in the upcoming year and a half, but just not here publicly. Then once we're done with he's done building everything and the permits are closed out, I come again with final plat, it gets approved, and I go and record it at the courthouse, and then he can officially start selling lots. But that's after the roads, the retention, the curbs, whatever he's gonna have, utilities. So that's where we're at right now.
Any questions for Mr. McMillan?
My absolutely only question is, Laura said that it meets minimum lot size, and some of them are under a quarter of an acre. Does that still meet minimum lot size?
I thought they were only a quarter.
I thought they had to be a quarter.
Yeah, I thought so too, and I was just looking, they
And
are
some of them
under.
are .30, it's .23.
The ones that are .23 are, they meet minimum lot size dimensions. They're not square. They're.
The one I'm looking at square.
It is.
This one particular, I mean, there's more than one. Here's another one up here that's square, that's .23. This one is .23. This one's .4.
Well, we don't have the dimensions on the preliminary plat, but I promise you that we will have the correct lot sizes when we get to the next phase.
I'm gonna make sure that there aren't any that are under a quarter of an acre.
I can't remember, is the zoning a quarter? I thought the zoning was
Well, the zoning's not quite a quarter.
It's X number of square feet, I know, but I thought that it was pretty much a quarter.
If you look on page 2, your lot 76,
Which one?
.23.
Which one's page 2?
On page 2 on the big, lot 73 is .23, lot 76.
Yeah, there's a bunch that are .23. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're looking at too. Quite a few. This one, now this one is bigger, so you could take part of it, but
96, 97, all across.
those are the ones I'm looking at
Thought
too.
they were all, I thought we were selling it as kind of quarter acre lots, but that's not with the zoning. With the zoning, it met all zoning 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it does. I don't think a quarter.
But we
acre
didn't
lot-
see this at planning and zoning, because I was there.
Yeah, you did.
We did, this was there, I didn't, they may have,
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it.
yeah. I didn't see it, because I was in the audience, of course. That's my only issue. And when it was before us before, when it was Park Lane, I thought they were 75 by 120. All the lots. So I remember he came and asked for an exception.
Too detailed that far back.
Yeah. I remember because they were 100 by 100 and he asked for them to be 75 by 125, same number of square feet, but he said they wanted to put pools in the back.
Yeah, I remember designing it several times.
Yeah, but that of course was a different owner altogether.
Yeah.
So that would be my only concern, is that they be minimum lot size.
They will be.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure that shows up in the minutes.
Yeah.
Please, thank you. Please,
Because
thank
we have
you.
a recommendation to approve the preliminary
Right.
plat right now, so. Recommendation with,
And I would make that recommendation with the caveat that they all be minimum lot size. That all lots be minimum lot size.
can we come back with discussion next meeting?
I think we'll be
Make
fine.
sure,
No, we
I
won't.
mean, I'll put that in the form of a motion, that we approve and
gotcha,
the
okay,
preliminary plat with that caveat.
okay. Do I hear a second? Mr. Mayor, will you turn this one
I'll second
off? All in favor? Aye.
that.
Opposed, same sign? All in favor? Passed.
Thank you. Can you fix my name? It's Ian. Ian over there.
Yes, sir.
Probably easier when it's Ian around.
I'm sorry to say, I thought you changed it.
On to C, Resolution 2021-12, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the assignment of a lease with Dennis Molman to Revolution Aviation Incorporated and providing an effective date. Airport Manager Benton Stiegel.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This particular resolution is transferring or assigning a lease from an individual to a company. Revolution Aviation is the current company that operates on this particular hard stand. And the primary shareholder, Mr. Molman, is wanting to assign the lease to the company rather than have it in his name. And that's all this document is.
Any questions for Mr. Stiegel? Everybody comfortable with that?
So is that a good thing?
You recommend?
I would recommend it, yes, ma'am. I don't know that it's,
All it's
a
doing,
bad thing
all it's doing is going from a person to a company.
to a company.
And that was really my only question, and you answered it in your statement, is that he is still,
He is still
the
a
owner
primary shareholder in
Still the
Revolution
owner of the
Aviation.
company. I was wondering if he was trying to get off of it altogether, but he's not.
No, he's still a primary shareholder in the company.
You wanna turn?
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we pass, resolution 2021-12. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston approving the assignment of a lease with Dennis Molman to Revolution Aviation Incorporated and providing an effective date.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Madam
Oh,
President.
discussion.
Sorry.
As Ms. Jones commented about Mr. Molman being removed from the lease, as far as personal liability, he would be removed from the lease. If the city had an issue, they could only go after the corporation in this, if the assignment is granted. So we want to make sure that, although he may be a primary decision maker of the corporation that is going to be the new tenant, he individually would no longer be personally liable, absent some type of fraud by a corporate director.
So he's transferring.
You say no more personally, would he be jointly? Not unless you found some egregious conduct. For example, if you went into business with me and some others and we formed a corporation, then the corporation took over the contract. In this case, the city would not be able to go after you and I personally. We would no longer be responsible for the debts of the corporation in large part.
Yeah. And that's my only concern, that's why I asked the question. So. Are there other shareholders, or is he the primary? I mean, you said he's primary, are there others?
There are two others, yes.
Two others.
And they've all agreed to this as well.
What are their qualifications? The other two?
As far as being shareholders?
Yeah, I mean, well, financial responsibility and that type of thing.
One is general manager of the facility, of the site facility at, the airport, and, I believe the other he assists in the operation of, Revolution Aviation. But, that's about it. Mr. Molman is been the financial backer in the past.
So what would Mr. Molman do if we decided not to do this?
I don't know that he would have any choice if he voted it down. I mean, the assignment is based, or the assignment would be based on, you know, the will of the council assigning this lease from one to another.
Right.
And as Mr. Coberline addressed, I think that's his primary intention, is to, remove himself financially from it.
Yeah.
What it's doing is taking from him and putting it all in the corporation, which is three of them. Three primary.
But it's not three individuals, as Mr. Coberline said, it's a company.
Corporation.
Okay, so what if we ask for financial status? Is that something we could do, Mr. Coberline? Can we ask for financial viability of the corporation?
Absolutely.
All right, so I withdraw my second.
Mr. Ross? You still standing on your motion, or?
Yes, yes, I am.
To approve?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second? Hearing lack of a second, the motion fails.
Yeah,
You sure did.
And I would ask them to show us financial viability of the corporation, for consideration.
Absolutely. I can do that.
Okay, Councilwoman Jones, Mr. Mullen did not have a security deposit. He was personally responsible, because the lease still is in his name. In addition to some corporate, financial status, you could also request
Like a bond or something?
No, it has simply escaped me. We do it often, where, not security deposit, we generally, a promise or a guarantee. We usually have a guarantor option for tenants.
Okay.
Anyone can guarantor the debts of a company, and, you can also ask that. The reason I state that is because it becomes hard to determine the creditworthiness of a corporation, especially one that may be registered in another state. Oftentimes, for example, if a corporation, a small one, wants to go and secure some type of loan, a bank will be asking for not only the profit and loss statements and financial instruments of the corporation, but those of the individual directors too. So you may, as you've given instruction here, you may find that you have little return to you to help you determine the creditworthiness of this corporation. And so you may offer that someone be a personal guarantor.
Okay.
And I only,
Sure negotiation.
I only suggest that because it may be easier for
Right.
them.
Yes, sir.
That goes to bond. They could probably try to secure a bond. I don't know whether or not a bonding insurer will bond that type of performance, but they certainly could try.
Okay, so if they come back with a bond or a guarantor, to put this under
Or
consideration.
just some additional information as the fact that we're not giving up his guarantee. Because that was my first impulse when I read it.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Provo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. G, Resolution 2021-13, resolution of the City of Williston, Levy County, Florida, accepting an agreement with Valley Collection Service LLC and authorizing the City Council President to execute the contract and providing an effective date. CJ.
Yes, this was brought to the council in, or the staff and board updates, that we were seeking a new company, to do collections for the city for, any of its outstanding debts. And this is just asking council to authorize the council president to sign the contract with them.
We discussed this the last meeting.
Now, is this a new Wage Pro or what?
No, this is collection,
Financial collection.
financial
Oh, okay,
collection.
oh, okay.
I move resolution 2021-13, a resolution of the City of Williston, Levy County, Florida, accepting an agreement with Valley Collection Services LLC and authorizing the City Council President to execute the contract and provide an effective date.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have passed resolution 2021-13. Thank you. Moving on, here we go. E, discussion with possible action review offers for city-owned property in Bronson. Mr. Deputy City Manager.
So, the council gave permission to staff to list the property. Staff did that with Harriet Downs Realty. There have been 2 offers on the property. However, I'm going to introduce Mark Pompeo in just a minute, let him come up and address this. It's come to our attention that since the agenda was given to the council, more offers have been received. I'd like you to allow him to approach the podium and fill us in.
Mark Pompeo, Harriet Downs Real Estate. So you have two offers that, you should have had a chance to look over. I don't remember, what was the name on the second one? I know it was Giaz, J-I-A-Z, and what was the other one you have in front of you?
One is Hannah,
Okay.
Andrew and Carolyn Sue Hannah.
All right, so, the Hannah offer, is, contingent on, financing. It is a full price offer, but it is contingent on them applying and qualifying and getting a loan for the property. I think there was an inclusion in there of their pre-approval letter as well. The other offer, from Giaz was a cash offer. It was less than the asking price, but it is cash and they're ready to go. Since that time, I have received, another offer, and I've been told another offer is coming, but I've got one in my hand, that you have not seen yet. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that before voting on what you've got. This is a full price, offer, and it's a cash offer with a 20-day feasibility study. I think Hannah had, 30 days on it. But this buyer wants, there's some trash on the north end of the 30-acre parcel. This buyer wants the owner to remove that trash. I don't know exactly how much trash is there, but I think it's some, white goods refrigerator or something like that somebody dumped back there, which is unfortunately common in the area. So I was going to, my thoughts were just to alert you to this one. You can't vote on it, but I just wanted to let you guys know before, you vote on what's in front of you currently.
I have a question, Mr. Pompeo. Both contracts, it's time for acceptance, both effective dates is, one of them is February 24th and the other one's February 22nd.
Right, well, at the time that the offers were made, we were not aware of the process that would be required for the city council to meet and vote on it. So now that I know it not only has to be before the city council meeting, it has to be before the agenda is prepared. So,
right.
But both of those are still, both of those buyers have been confirmed. One of them is actually, I've sent to Jackie, a redo of that acceptance date for tomorrow. But again, that's not gonna do us any good if we're gonna look at these other offers that come in prior to the next meeting.
Which one was gonna be changed to tomorrow's date?
The GS offer, the cash offer for GS.
And you've got another cash offer.
And I've got another cash offer that I've got in my hand, about the same feasibility.
20-day
period.
feasibility with a garbage dump.
Right, but
You said you had another one you thought was coming?
Yes, there's been a lot of activity, even though, I listed it higher than the appraised value, because the appraised value, I think, came in late in 2019. The market values have gone up, there's been a lot of activity. So by the March 16th meeting of the council, I plan on, we will probably have other offers as well.
And that'll give us time to go up and see what's on the North 40 up there.
Yeah, I need to go back out there and look. I walked a lot of that property, but I did not walk, all that end to see what's out there. So I can get out there and get some pictures, and I'll send them to Jackie, so she'll have them for the next meeting. But that's my recommendation, is wait until the next meeting, and we'll get in as many offers as we can prior to that.
I'm with you. Agree? Yes, sir.
Yeah, at this point, staff was just unclear. We knew we had been given permission to list this. However, there are no stipulations put behind it as to how long we were going to advertise it for. At what point we were going to do a cutoff on that. So that's kind of what we were seeking direction for tonight. And then on the property, as far as the trash is concerned, it's a majority of the trash is not on the city parcel. I visited that property many times. But there's where you anticipate the property line being, It is not. They've made a trail to go back through there with four-wheelers and everything, so, I know there's a boat and some washers, dryers that are actually on the adjoining property that does not belong to the city.
But it's still impeding on part of it, onto the 30?
The last time I was out there, there was nothing on the city portion, but that doesn't mean it's been
It could be
probably
there
a month since I've been
tonight.
out there.
Have we surveyed it? Do we know where
It
the
has not
property
been
boundary?
surveyed in quite some time, but you can find the one property marker up at the north end that Ms. Pompeo is referring to, is there's a power pole there, a lit pole, that kind of designates that corner of the property anyway.
So you know exactly where it is.
Okay.
So you want a motion to table it, or is it just for discussion?
This is, for discussion with possible action, so discussion.
Yeah, so
We will
just table by
have
consensus or
Mr.
something.
Pompeo bring back a couple more and at our next meeting. Good?
Good.
Sounds great.
Sounds good? Okay, that's what we'll do, Mr. Pompeo. Get to work. Bring it back. Thank you. Next is discussion with possible action, renaming Heritage Park Pavilion after Dr. Kenneth Weaver. Councilmember Jones.
Okay,
I'm so
this
glad.
one doesn't need an awful lot of explanation. As we heard earlier tonight, Dr. Schwiebert has been involved in the CRA since the beginning. He was actually involved before the CRA began. He was instrumental in getting the CRA started to begin with. He personally built the gazebo at the other end with the help of volunteers, as well as the brick patio that's at that end, as well as assisting 100% with the Veterans Memorial. As we named the community center after our previous mayor, I would like for you to consider naming not the park would still be Heritage Park, but naming that pavilion for Dr. Schwiebert in his honor.
Any discussion? Questions? Mr. Ross? No? You're for it? Okay.
Yep,
Mr.
okay.
Cox?
Yep.
And we'll come up with an official name of what it'll be called.
So, I love the idea.
We can consult with him as to, how much of his name he wants on it. Whether he wants.
Would he make the woodwork, put his name up there?
Would he make the flag? Yeah.
He probably would. He probably could.
All right, do we need to vote this, or do we want to come back with a name for the pavilion first?
I'll make a motion, we name it Ken Schwiebert Pavilion.
Dr. Kenneth?
Dr. Kenneth Schwiebert.
And he may want Ken instead of Kenneth, that's why I was gonna ask him.
Kenneth, I think we put Kenneth. This is the proper name, and we're
Okay.
naming it after a proper person.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Debate.
Okay.
Sometimes. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor of naming the pavilion Dr. Kenneth Schwiebert Pavilion?
Aye.
I'm obviously in favor of doing it, but I'm not necessarily in favor of naming it that. I would like to ask him what he wants to name, so I don't know how to vote. I guess I'll vote yes and come back with an amendment if you need me to.
Well,
I vote yes, I guess.
Okay, all right. So moved.
Don't know how to do about it.
Okay.
We got it?
Yeah.
All right. So it's the first and second contingency and a table and a... Item 6, public participation. I'm sorry? Oh.
You just go up?
Of course. Yes. Go up to the lectern, your name and address, and
Steve McMillan, old guy.
with an
Back to the caveat, with any, I looked at it, I'm sorry I didn't have it ready for you. This is zoned, my flat is zoned R1A. Muni code says it's 8,712 square feet, which is a .2 acre.
Okay.
So we're compliant.
So if they're point three, they make it. Gotcha.
Number two, that, I was there when we did the bricks around the gazebo, and they were in pretty bad disrepair. That next block, I assume they were going to that block 4 next with the 10-foot sidewalk, and when is that coming? Anyone knows?
Have to ask the CRA.
CRA.
Oh, that was it, thanks.
It's budgeted, so we're trying to get it in this year's budget before October 1.
They're not taking down his pavilion, are they?
I'm sorry?
They're not gonna take down his pavilion.
No, we're going to extend the improvements that's been done in
Yeah.
Tennis Park to the
Yeah.
very end.
Okay.
And fix the bricks
That'll
around the
be good.
gazebo as part of it.
Yeah.
Do put the benches in that's already been purchased, get some landscaping in.
And the lights
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
lights, right.
Cause it's so pretty at night on that whole strip.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's in the budget to be done, we're just trying to find time to make a lot happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Pompeo.
Yes, regarding the plat for Country Lane Estates, I was just wondering what's gonna be done with the road and traffic control. It's got 2 access roads, one which passes by the front of my house, and the road, I drug a trailer to, over the weekend, and the road is pretty bad right now on Northwest 7th Street. So I was just wondering how the road's gonna be improved and what kind of other traffic control, cause we're adding 100 homes, so that means probably 200 cars going in those 2 streets into this new subdivision.
Exactly.
Ms.
Gorman?
Yes, part of our review when we do these subdivisions includes understanding the traffic, the impact that development's gonna have on adjacent roadways. Comp plan puts all roads at a level of service C, like a report card, or that, everything's a C. Any impact to that road as a result of that development that takes it down to a D or an F, the improvements have to be done to bring it back to a C again. So the comments have been made to the developer, work into the improvement plans to address ingress egress, to understand the impact on the roads, include that in their improvements. Just so many different things that we look at.
The developer has to improve the access roads that are currently in place?
Any impact on the adjacent roads as a result of their development.
Well, the roads are bad now.
Yes. So, yes, they'll be doing improvements to bring them up, all their impact will affect it. Sometimes it'll trip a study, and we'll look, say it's coming out on a main road with a lot of traffic, okay? Sometimes it would require a turn lane, sometimes it would require right in, right out. We look at that and we ask them, depending on developing, they're all different, to review that and see what the impact is. So in this case, the adjacent roads do have to be addressed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Ms. Gorman, did you want to discuss the broadband?
I thought I missed it.
You didn't miss it. Mr. Lewis is wanting to know how we can get this improved.
Okay, how we can get what improved, our broadband service?
Everything.
Did we not do a staff?
We hadn't got there yet.
Oh,
We haven't gotten there yet.
It's okay,
I
we're almost there.
If I may, as you know, Aaron Mills is our new IT manager, who's put a lot of time and effort in trying to understand.
I did not know that.
We didn't know that.
Nobody told us.
I would like to present Aaron Mills is our new IT manager.
Who?
Mr. Aaron.
This guy.
I'm your son.
Okay,
He needs this.
there's a team, Aaron, CJ, myself, Laura, and Jim, who's been working on this grant that's due Thursday. It's called the EPIC grant. The acronym is, what is it, Laura, what does it stand for? Do you have it right there? It's from Truist Bank, which is SunTrust, and the Internet Society. Sorry, I don't have the information in front of me, but we've been working on this thing like crazy. What it is grants funds up to $180,000 provide broadband. It doesn't get into the same criteria as your CDBG grant, because this is private. So it's basically putting us through the hoops of what's it gonna take to bring broadband, and it's basically like doing a business plan, starting a business. We have to talk about what we're gonna do with our design, what we're gonna do with our infrastructure, how we're gonna cost it out, how we're gonna manage it up to 1, 3, and 5 year periods. So that grant's being put together now. I'm not an IT tech, he is, so I'm gonna let him talk to you about how it works. If you would, Aaron, come up and talk to them. It's not fiber, it's a different concept.
Okay,
It's been done before.
Mr. Mills, come to the lectern, please. State your name and address.
Hi, my name is Aaron Mills. I am your information technology manager.
All right.
Yay.
All right.
We're not reinventing the wheel. This is something that's been done thousands of times all over the world. In a nutshell, we're bringing a broadband fiber backbone in from Lumen, / CenturyLink, whatever their name is this week. And from there, it would go out wirelessly and cover the city. I'll give you guys a little bit of picture there. Which one is? That first one is from, I think it was the FCC, did a study that of rural counties and internet availability, and I think it put Lee County in 61 to 70% of homes did not, or did have broadband available. As we all know, most of us live around this area. What we have is not very sufficient. And our goal with this is to provide something that is better and more affordable. And basically, it's just gonna be wireless access, internet to a fiber connection available to the residents of the city, and in the future, expanded maybe outside the city limits. But the initial phase 1 would be focusing on the city itself.
The dark blue.
Yeah, basically, this is just our basic setup that we've projected from one location here in town. Basically, anywhere in the light blue area would be able to get access to the internet, providing they have a somewhat clear line of sight. Can't attest for terrain, trees, buildings, things like that being in the way, but that is a projected coverage area of the transmitters. We're going to utilize the existing water tower, the water tank we have here in town.
This grant is due Thursday, but we'll hear pretty soon. What's the date that we hear? It's the end of March?
It just said April.
April. So we'll hear next month if we have it or not. And then, we get awarded a certain amount. Now, you gotta understand, this comes with, if we get awarded this grant, the Internet Society and all of their experts come in and they assist us too. So you have a whole lot of eyes on this to make sure it works appropriately going forward. We feel comfortable that it's gonna be effective and it's gonna be affordable based on the numbers that we've crunched so far. We don't have a number yet, because we're still making sure, we're going over our grant to make sure it's
And you're pretty confident.
and we haven't got anything. Well, what we did is we downloaded business plans from others to make sure, you know, it's not the same, demographics, but the process is the same, to make sure we didn't miss anything in our putting, it's a new utility that the city's gonna be offering, and we wanna make sure we're doing it well. So we'll be planning this from design all the way through to billing and making sure that all of this is done well, to put a process to it. So we're quite busy in that room, making sure that we're double checking everything. And then once it's submitted, we're gonna set eyes on it with this group, the Internet Society and Truist Bank. So it's a good opportunity for us, and I think, we stand a pretty good chance, based on everything that we've researched and everything that's been brought to the table by Aaron. So we're excited to present this, and
You're pretty confident about this one.
Yes, we are. Okay. We wouldn't do it if we weren't, it'd just be wasted time.
Mr. Ford.
And that is our city
Cowlink.
citizen, our Cowlink.
Cowlink. That's good.
I just want to make sure that if we turn back to the screen, there's a dark blue area and there's a light blue area. Now, I have a extreme distrust for CenturyLink. Because if you begin to look at what they did,
Mr. Lewis does too.
if you begin to look at what they did as you cross the track, it's deplorable and it's almost illegal what they have actually done once you cross the track. And so CenturyLink is not on my good side at all. And, you know, when we have church services virtually and can't get service, period, it's concerning. So I say, dot every I and cross every T, and let's make sure that everyone has equal access.
Yes, sir.
If I can, we all know your pain, we all feel it. Anybody here can attest, Mr. McMillan, I'm working with him as well. He's felt your pain too, even here in town, you know. Many people, many businesses that I've dealt with outside of here have had the same complaints, you know, residences, and they have no desire to make it better. They've already got you as a sole provider, they don't really care. You know, it's a corporation, they don't really care. Think of CenturyLink/Lumen being the provider that we're gonna use in the back end. It's a total separate entity, same name, same, that's why they call themselves Lumen and not CenturyLink. They are the fiber optic network providers. They're the ones providing the fiber optic to the area. Fiber optic's been here in town probably the last 10 years, but not really widely available. It is available right now. It hasn't been affordable. That's been the problem. And I'm telling your case. Okay. We had a plan that they had been approached from CenturyLink out to businesses where they did a migration program where you could, if you were on DSL as a business customer, they would migrate you to fiber optic at no cost. No upfront cost, would provide the installation, the underground boring, the equipment installation, everything. And they were generally working out, they would pay just a few dollars plus or minus what they were existing paying for DSL. So it was a no-brainer. I had businesses lining up on it. They suddenly dropped it. They decided they weren't going to do that anymore. I think he was the last one I tried to get it on. And they came back with him, what was it, $4,000, I think, for your installation?
Oh, no, it was well over that.
Was it? I don't remember what it was.
12 or 18.
It might have been $12,000 for them to hook a fiber that was 650 feet away.
It was great.
So, I mean, it's just there, it's attainable, but it's just not feasible.
Oh,
Not
I got it.
affordable.
I got it into,
Yeah.
Sharon Brandon got it, and Cook
There
got
was a lot of businesses here in
still.
town did it. Matt Brooks got it. There was a lot of them got it through that migration program. It went hot and heavy.
Okay.
We're actually, Williston, believe it or not, is one of the largest privately supplied fiber optic internet communities in Florida. Now, places like Ocala have their own fiber network they built and put in, actually stringing fiber up and down the streets, and there's been other cities that done it. Again, we're not reinventing anything, we're just doing it a little bit different, you know. We're trying to get it out to the people affordably and have you, as best we can, a guaranteed bandwidth. Anything you do on DSL or cable or any of that is actually a shared broadband. So at 5 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock at night, when all the people get home from work and all the kids are at night and they're all streaming on their iPads and every TV, and everybody's internet suffers. Ideally, if this works the way we want it to work, and we're planning for it to work, if we sell you a 25 megabit download, you're gonna get 25 megabit download, barring any weather or trees in the way or something like that may affect your signal. But if you're getting the bandwidth, we're gonna give you as best we can. It's not shared.
I believe, Mr. Lewis, did you have a question for?
Yes, not a question, just something about the internet. Glenn Lewis, 1305 Northeast First Street. If any of you guys ever watch MSNBC and stuff like that, where they go to people's houses and do these stories and stuff, that's bad internet. So that's what we basically have here now. So hopefully with this new project, we'll have this stuff.
We can help. We can help.
Question for Aaron.
Okay, the
Sure.
new IT person.
Mr. IT Manager.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there availability of putting up additional towers?
Yes, absolutely. This is just the initial phase.
Perfect, so we can actually move it farther if we,
We're even considering, we have the possibility of maybe even branching it out to other
surrounding communities, i.e. Bronson,
I want to
Raleigh,
go down.
Marston,
Okay.
you know, poured into Marion County. You know, the sky's the limit, literally, it just takes money.
But right now,
So-
it's a 1, 3, and 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Right.
That we're projecting. So if we're very successful, then we can grow. And again, we're doing this, the very best with the best experts we have, okay, to do. And then there's another set of eyes that we don't want to get submitted. So, fingers crossed.
Yes.
We've literally started this a week ago,
Yeah.
and the deadline is Thursday.
Yeah.
So it's been crunch time for a
Well,
week.
what are you doing here?
Yeah. Making sure you guys can be seen and heard.
Oh, okay. Mr. Witt,
Well, who owns the transmitter on top?
We will.
we will.
This will be a city utility.
And you'll be a utility customer and sign on and pay a monthly fee.
That's right. Thank you. Anybody else?
CalLink, let's do it.
CalLink.
No?
All right, on to announcements.
we still in open forum?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Just for the record, I did not pick CalLink. But I like it.
It's brilliant, and you know it.
Yeah.
If you live on the cow, the city limits is part of.
That's actually the black on,
I see that.
Oh.
that's the city limits, and then
Black, white, and
is the
Florida.
Florida underneath.
Florida.
I'm not crazy about his face right here, this mouth part, but other than that.
I'm not sure I like the high heels on it either, that's kinda weird.
It is a cow, you know.
Wearing heels?
I like this committee, this commitment is nice. Two comments on some of the things that were brought up tonight. One was that piece of property that you guys want to, foreclose on. If anything, put a coat of paint on it to make it look decent. I mean, even if you cut the grass, you can still see a nice old building, you put some paint on it or something. I mean, of course, you have to throw some paint on that thing. Also, on your development, sir, my concern is for police and fire. How much more of a strain is that gonna be put on local fire and rescue people?
They've been involved, as far as I know, and they will be involved as this goes through development and whatnot.
Also, will there be hydrants involved and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All
But
the-
my main concern is that another development comes up, we put more and more strain on our facilities. And talking about facilities, while I'm up here, what can we do to get the hospital open? Can we go to Shands or, cause Shands and North Florida and Alachua County have satellite hospitals where people can go. If somebody here breaks a leg, if a kid breaks a leg or something, you can haul them all the way up to Gainesville. And you have a heart attack.
I hear you, I hear you.
I mean, can the city approach these people, say, hey, we got this building, at least can you do something with it?
We don't own it.
We don't
We
own
don't, we don't, who owns it now?
It's embedded in legality.
So it's gonna be there.
We have doctors that would like to purchase this and make it private, and we can't go through the red tape. The group that had it before was deeply involved in
Can we at least
problems
maybe
with it.
approach these people to build a satellite, facility here? I
We would
mean,
love that, but we
When
can't
it's
do
available.
that.
There's nothing we can do.
Not available
Nothing.
at the moment.
I'm not talking about that building, I'm talking about having them come in and build a new facility for us. I mean, they've done it in Alachua County. Both hospitals have satellite things around. I mean, we don't have anything, even Bronson,
Yes,
everything
That
out
would
there.
be up to them to find a piece of property and build it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask
So
for
can we,
it in a minute. see if
can we
I
go after them and say, hey, come on, guys, we need
You
this
stay on
here,
it, you're
can you at least help us?
Tell you when it's
I
time to
can,
go.
if I may address that.
Thank you.
I can tell you that rooftops bring in residential, or bring in retail, okay, and we're growing. We're growing now with 156 new units and a possible another 300 in the next couple years. When hospitals find out, they do their due diligence, trying to find areas that need service, so they're gonna be the same as retail, they're gonna be watching that. And they're gonna be knocking on the door also at some point, just like your retail will start coming in when they see our growth. It'll happen. But right now, we can't do anything with these, and that's unfortunate.
Another question, The place where the high school used to be, they have not really been forward about what they plan to put on there at all. I've noticed, okay, one store's gone away. Tractor Supply's coming in great. Maybe we suggest to them a big lots. I think a big lot would be good here. And I talked to your previous person, city manager, about this, and he sent out an email to him, and I never heard back from him or anything, if he had heard anything back from them about putting big lots here. They are willing to do community service in an area where they come in. So it'll be a plus for us.
It would be all up to the developer, the Blue Rock developer, who he gets in and who he can sell the piece of property to. That's up to him, not us.
Can we kind of suggest to?
Well, we can do all we can.
We've told him all kinds of things we're interested in.
We've even had a marketing study done
Yeah.
on what would be desirable here. So it's up to him.
This town's booming, guys, we're in a boom town right now.
You're right.
It'll build up quickly, and I'm always worried about, my background was ABC News for 30 years. I've seen things happen and stuff in cities and stuff, and I used to live in Miami. Well, I got out of Miami to get up here, but it's just frustrating as a resident.
I agree.
The city-
I think, I'm sorry, Mr. Lewis, not to cut you short. I think, Aaron, did you have somebody there? No?
Not yet, but whenever.
Okay, all right.
You've got another minute or so.
It's frustrating. I think you've noticed a little video I put on Facebook that came from the movie Network. Go to your windows, lean out, say, I'm mad as hell, I'm not gonna take it anymore. As a resident, I'm getting to that point.
Thank you.
All right, Jackie, you ready?
Aaron?
I have someone online wants to talk.
Okay. Uh-oh, I'm sorry.
Hang on a second.
And
that's not wanting to work here. Try that.
Mr. Cowlink?
We have to,
Next call?
Can they hear you?
we have to get the right button here. Go ahead, Jackie.
Can you hear me? Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have you. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Jacqueline Eflin. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Jackie.
I just want to thank Vonda again for standing in for me tonight. Again, I reiterate that she said that we thank the Friends Community Spring Park, thank everyone for your time, mayor, volunteers, for your time and commitment, especially Mr. Fuller and his equipment and my dad, because we couldn't have moved all that much without them. So I definitely thank for his equipment. I wanted to thank Miss Patricia Wright again for organizing the cleanup day and making sure we had food, which was definitely needed after we finished all the cleaning. I make a note that Ms. Gussie Goldwright presented us with some Black History facts, and she will be also presenting something at the park about a memorial activity and project. Again, I just want to thank everyone for your time, and I look forward to all the other teamwork activities that we will do at the park and all the parks in Williston. And my thought I'll leave with you is that we planted trees, and we just need to watch them grow as we watch the community of Williston continue to grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ms.
Jackie.
Cowlink.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you, Mr. Cox, for the food.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Cox, for the food. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Anybody else? All right, we're going to go on to announcements. Mr. Ross.
I don't know if you got an announcement, but what's going on over at your Farsall place over the corner over there?
Across the street?
Yeah.
They're pulling down the, canopy?
Well, yeah, what's going in?
I heard, I'm not gonna say what I've heard because we
So
hear
far-
from day to day.
Jackie, you know?
So far, all I have is a demolition permit. We don't have any plans for the new building, but they are gonna be putting in a new retail.
I knew what?
Retail,
Shop.
A store.
Are the variance requirements gonna create a problem for them?
I'm not sure yet because I don't have any plans yet. All I heard are hearsay.
They're removing the tanks too, just so you know.
Yeah, I saw that,
And it's on commercial. It's on commercial
yeah.
already, so anything commercial essentially is a go.
We still got tractor supply coming
Yes, sir.
in up the hill?
We got their building plans yesterday.
Okay, that's all I had.
That's it? You're happy?
That's it.
All right. Ms. Jones?
I have nothing.
Mr. Mayor? Ms. Cox?
We're good.
We're good? Ms. Gorman?
I have nothing, thank you.
You have nothing? Mr. Deputy City Manager, CJ? Mr. Coberline? Ms. Jones? Ms. Thompson? Ms. Wright, welcome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
I do have an announcement. Well, I have two. First, I want to thank Laura for filling in for me today. And I have the uncertified results of the election, which the only thing on the election was a referendum for a increase in pay for the mayor and council members, and it passed.
Gonna say.
Unofficially, it passed. We would be certifying the vote on Friday at 10 o'clock. And that is my announcement.
Just a tally somewhere that we can.
It is posted on the back of the door.
Got it.
on the
Thank you.
committee.
Thank you.
Good.
After 30 years of not a raise, they like us. I have nothing, but I would love to have.
Move we adjourn?
Let's adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting. Bye.
Hey, what's the chair? Yeah, both of them. Two, decided on me this time. She started.